And this is a very large project in Hawaii. It's a 20-mile elevated rail line. And what this project chose to do was to create a kind of a video version of their DEIS and post it online. That's going to be above and beyond what the majority of projects that we work on. That's a pretty extensive step. But again, we started to see some numbers. Over 700 people, there have been over 700 views of this project online. So that's interesting. This is probably a more reasonable approach for most projects, and that is to have a YouTube channel set up for your project. Again, this is the More for 1604 project that's going on down in San Antonio, and we can see they've got 8 different videos on their YouTube channel. You can't really see it too clearly, but some of the videos range from being 13 seconds to 2 minutes. So they're not huge, massive videos. This is, a little clip from your public involvement. This is a clip from existing conditions, that kind of thing. And we can see there's like and dislike buttons, so people can express, how they feel. Are they interested in what you're saying? Another interesting thing that we can do on our YouTube channels is we can see how many people are viewing the content, right? Another good way to collect data, are people interested in this? Is this important and valuable for them? And then let's talk about subscribers. This is a really important issue all across any social media platform, is subscribers. And so this project has 2 people that subscribe to their YouTube channel. Now, so subscriber is just like a magazine or just like a newspaper. This is someone that opted in to receive your updates and your notifications, right? So as public involvement people, that's the holy grail. People have signed up and said, yes, your content is relevant and it's interesting to me, and I want to receive it regularly. So we'll come back to subscribers in a little bit. Okay, Twitter. Twitter is my favorite social media platform, and because it's my favorite, we're going to spend a little extra time on it. Twitter is a microblog, and what I mean by microblog is you're limited to 140 characters. So people can't post these massive, blog pages. You get a sentence, maybe a sentence at most, to convey an idea, a concept, something that's going on. So you could tweet and let people know, hey, my public involvement meeting is coming up. The DEIS is now available. Those are kind of some ideas of what you could say on Twitter. And so when you send out a tweet, the tweet appears on your project's Twitter page, but it also appears on any of your subscribers' Twitter pages. So let's say you have 3 people who have opted in to get your information, and they're called your followers on Twitter. It's just a terminology that they use. So that one tweet that you send out goes on your page, and it goes in all of your followers' Twitter pages. Now this is where Twitter gets fun. If one of your followers said, yes, this content is interesting and relevant, they can forward your tweet onto their followers, right? So they say, hey, this is really interesting, you guys need to read it. They send it out just like an email. They forward that tweet on, and that tweet is going to appear in their followers' Twitter streams. Additionally, with Twitter, if they want to ask you a question, they can engage you, they can tweet back at you about the project, right? And if they ask you a question, it appears on your followers, that particular follower's feed, and it also appears on your feed. That way you can respond to it or say, hey, look, somebody asked this question, if you need to report that. But a cool feature of Twitter is when they reply back to you, that reply also goes to their followers' feeds. So what I'm trying to convey in this very kind of convoluted diagram is how easy it is for interesting information to spread virally, right? So we have 3 people originally that followed us, but in the end, because the information and the content was interesting, it spread out to 9 people. Now, for example, Cubit's Twitter followers, we have over 500 people that follow us. So if we're sending out interesting and relevant content, it's really easy for the content that we send out to spread to other people. Other people know what we're talking about, and they can subscribe to us. So any questions on the way information can flow via social? And this is true for any social media platform, Facebook, even YouTube, and some of the other things that we're talking about. So this is kind of a basic how information can spread quickly.
Kristen, are you going to talk anything about security, how to prevent offensive? Well, I guess when you talk about public involvement, it's all offensive.
Well, we will. If I don't address address that, bring that up at the end of the conversation. If anybody's on Twitter, tweet that at me and make sure that I address it by the end of the conversation. Okay, so let's look at an example project that's using Twitter. This is the Rosemont EIS project. It's a Forest Service project. They're doing copper and silver mining in Arizona. And so, you know, they're sending out these are their 140 character tweets that they're sending out about their project. And you notice they have 18 followers. That's not a whole lot on Twitter. In fact, that's not very good at all. There's a reason I think they're not getting a lot of followers, and I'll explain that in a little bit later on in the presentation. This is a brand new I-95 EIS that's going on in North Carolina. They're doing, the same group that did the More for 1604 project in San Antonio is working on this driving I-95 project. And so they're doing a lot of really interesting things in the way they're using social media. So these guys, brand new project, they already have 51 followers. So they're starting to get a little more traction than, say, the Rosemont EIS project did. At the beginning, I mentioned hashtags. Let's talk really quickly about hashtags. A hashtag is a little code of text. I don't know, in the back you probably can't read it, but it says pound I-95 study. And what hashtags do, and what kind of the power of Twitter is, it enables you to track conversations, right? So let's look at how exactly a hashtag works. This is the driving I-95, and they sent out this tweet. You know, they're talking about I-95 tolls, and they put a hashtag, this little pound, and then whatever the text is after that character, after that the pound. So that tweet went out to all 51 of their followers. And one of their followers said, that's really interesting. And that follower is Nash Planning. So what Nash Planning does is they forward, just like an email, right? They forward that content on to all of Nash Planner's 31 different followers that they have. And the tweet, because they just forward it, just like an email, it's the same content, forward out, that pound, that little hashtag appears. And so then what we can do is we can go to Twitter and we can set up a search for pound I-95 study. We're going to search on that hashtag and we can find everybody on Twitter that's talking about our projects. So the ability to find conversations, the ability to see who's saying what about your project or your area or Austin or GIS, whatever topics that you're interested in, is really what I think sets Twitter apart. And then of course there's really interesting data and analysis that you can do, and since I'm a data and analysis geek, that's what I like to do. So that is Twitter in a nutshell. Facebook is an amalgamation of everything. It's blogs, it's Flickr, it's YouTubes, it's a way to find conversations. It's kind of everything rolled up into one. It's probably my least favorite platform because it is so difficult for a new user to be able to get in and use Facebook. So in much of the same way that Twitter works, Facebook works, the terminology is just a little bit different. So on Facebook, you post content to your Facebook wall, and when you post that on your wall, it also appears simultaneously in your followers' walls. And then those followers' walls, they can do something called liking, right? So they can give you a thumbs up. They like the information that you're putting out there. And when they give you that thumbs up, it appears not only on their wall, but it appears on your wall. So you can start to count the number of people that like the content that you're putting out, count the number of people that like what you're talking about. But another interesting thing is, in addition, the likes appear on their followers' walls. So they see, these people over here see that this person likes some conversation, so it helps them find your content over there through the power of groupthink. In addition to just liking, they can leave comments, right? Just like any blog or any other thing, they can like it and they can say, they can ask a question, they can provide comments on that. So this is the West Side Subway Extension project that's using Facebook. Sheer numbers of users. This is one of the largest projects that's had the most success.